The difficult episodes to film were the ones where we hadn't received the script before we started shooting. Um, when you're a lead actor or part of a core cast, you have a huge responsibility to carry the story, to work out what color you bring to that canvas and deliver that wholeheartedly. And when you don't know what direction it's going in, where it leads, you can't really fulfill your responsibilities. So sadly, creatively, you have to tone down your choices because you have to make them more generic so that they can be slotted into whatever is filled in around it, around those scenes. And some days, Ben and I, Meltdown was a particularly difficult episode to shoot because we had not received the script. And the director was in a near to impossible position where he had to make something out of nothing. We had a basic idea of what was going to happen in the story, but there's always so many indications from the writer as to how you tell the story. And there may only be, I mean, what's the story? There's only 13 original stories told a million different ways. One of the great things about Farscape was bringing a very irreverent tone to an otherwise common story, or putting a unique, twist on the tale. And we weren't in a position to do that as performers if we didn't have the story in front of us. Um, Hard to do a painting without the canvas. So, contrasting that, there were episodes like Ben Browder's one where I played the crazy blonde-haired princess. The wig was very heavy, and I started to get a bit cranky boomsticks, as I call it. I was a bit tired and wanted to have a lunch. Um, Great opportunity for improvisation. I found that Erin was too clean and serious a character to improvise in the way that, say, Crichton would in his environment, and therefore I, as an actor, didn't feel I could really let loose on Erin terribly much. But the more she started to soften with Crichton, especially the Talon Crichton, there was a lot more room for improvisation in that regard, and so there are scenes that are quite intimate between Crichton and Erin where she's learning to speak English. That was one of my ideas that I'd threaded through from something from David Kemper, and one of the other writers. And so we would feed in those things when we could. But as far as episodes go on a whole, um, the two-parter where the Talon Crichton dies, the sand dune sequences was such fun to film in those buggies. Fanging around, as I say, which is as I'll say, the technical term for driving at high speed in a sand buggy. Um, Shooting on location in Australia when the weather is perfect is just a sublime experience, and we look back on that with great fondness. Um, Episodes on the whole, the choice was a really stimulating episode for me. I was nervous as hell because I knew I was carrying it individually, really. Um, and getting an opportunity to work, that was the start of more work with Paul Goddard as well. And he was so lovely to work with. And Rowan, I mean, we just all enjoyed working with our stable of directors who would return, our recurring directors. It was just another opportunity for us to come up with some ideas and play around with the story. And I enjoyed the choice immensely, actually. And my mother got to return, and Linda Cropper's a fabulous woman. Great actress, really well known in Australia, but also really funny. So in between all the very serious stuff where we were sort of having fights, we'd sort of crack up, directly afterwards.
That's really strange to think of.
I know.
Such a serious
They're so
thing.
stern, and they had such a terrible relationship, and it was so dysfunctional. There was one particular day where I was shooting a scene in the Choice with my mother, and we're standing on the balcony. It's when Grace comes in and shoots her accidentally on purpose. And I was supposed to catch Linda Cropper and sort of hold her before she dies and have this moment with her where she says, basically, let me go. And Erin finally decides that she should sort of release her mother off a building so that she can splat on the floor below. And there were all these safety mats, and I went to catch Linda, and she fell at a slightly different angle than what I was expecting, and I'm totally uncoordinated anyway, so I don't know why any actor would ever trust me. And I missed, and she fell over, and we both fell off the wall together. And I swore, and it was quite funny, and I think they removed the swearing from the bloopers, but poor mum, couldn't catch her.